This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Prime Minister Marape reflects on the late Grand Chief. Lifestyle diseases are concerned in PNG. And mother and daughter, among others, still missing in Bismarck Sea. A very good evening. You're watching National MTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Christianity and obedience to the laws are the two of the fundamental qualities of the founding father, the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, and must be adapted by generations. This was alluded to by the Prime Minister James Marape yesterday at the University of Papua New Guinea when commemorating the passing of the late Grand Chief.
Marape, in his keynote address, reflected on a conversation that the late Grand Chief had with them in Kokopo on how he achieved the nation's independence.
It was beautiful, but there were places for whites and there were places for natives. And Grand Chief Somare told us of one moment when he was trying to go into Ella Beach Hotel and they asked him to stay outside. And he said that was the moment he made up his mind, it doesn't matter what. Independent it must be for his country. And today, living on, sometimes we think that independence was easily secured. All you have to do is look at the other side of the border, and the struggle for self-determination is still going on. Sovereignty and borders that were established before our time must be appreciated by our generation today and forever going on into the future.
Prime Minister Marape reflected on the 7 attributes of late Sir Michael Somare and urged the students to adapt to it for the betterment of the nation going forward.
May Somare's inspiration be part of us every day. I hope tonight you took the 7 characteristics of Somare, and I repeat, optimism, selfless, national unifier. He was a promoter of PNG way. He treated everyone equally. He was a Christian, and being a Christian, he was law-abiding. That is the 7 values I want to pass on to you tonight. In your own life, as you live, find a space to contribute to your country.
Of all the attributes of the late Grand Chief alluded to by the Prime Minister, he strongly emphasized on the last 2 attributes and encouraged all students and citizens to value late Somare's attributes of Christianity and being law-abiding citizens. In doing so, all other attributes will easily fall in line.
Papua New Guineans, students, if you want to do well for your country, if every other attribute of Somare I mentioned earlier is a little bit too hard for you, the best you can give for your country tonight and going forward is being a law-abiding Papua New Guinean. Everything else is secondary. If you claim to be a Christian and you're not law-abiding, you're not a Christian. If you claim to be a Papua New Guinean and you're not law-abiding, you're not a Papua New Guinean.
Prime Minister Marape acknowledges the UPNG SRC for taking the initiative to host this commemoration ceremony of the late Grand Chief. 2 events were hosted here in the nation's capital yesterday evening to commemorate the founding father. One was hosted by UPNG and the other hosted by NCDC at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium. Sharon Engnui, National MTV News.
Students and the Governing Council of the University of Papua New Guinea yesterday joined the nation in observing and remembering the legacy of our founding father on the 2nd year of his passing. The commemoration ceremony eventuated with the theme, "Our vision is to pursue his vision for PNG."
As the nation marks a day to remember the founding father, the country's first and the only institution that has a building named after the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, UPNG joined the cause by observing and remembering the founding father. National anthem was sung at the initiation of the commemoration ceremony that took place at the UPNG Forum Square outside of Michael Somare Library. Student Representative Council President Luther Kissing reflected on Somare's vision for the country and emphasized that it is now a generational obligation to pursue late Somare's vision for PNG.
Vibrant and distinct leadership, equipped with chiefly qualities that united the diversity of our society. He was a visionary, deployed for national interest. He was in pursuit for the nations to be a nation. In unity was his dream, and his legacy will be recalled on the lips of generations to come in the future. As long as the beautiful land of PNG exists, it will be the synonym of our Emancipation Proclamation. It is the significance of our independence. Late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare, your vision is our mission, and this generation will take it as our responsibility to pursue Papua New Guinea and to pursue the 2050 vision to make it a reality.
Mr. Kissing highlighted that the legacy of the late Grand Chief will be remembered for many generations, highlighting that his Vision 2050 will be the mission of this generation and will ensure it come into realization. The UPNG Theatre Hut students performed a short motionless drama that was the highlight of the event that summarized the life journey of the late Grand Chief that led this country to its sovereignty.
To this generation of Papua New Guineans, I thank you all for your love and affection, for your care and protection in my lifetime. I gave my best years in this country. I hope you will each find the grace to complete our dream of our great nation, Papua New Guinea. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yesterday marked the Remembrance Day of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare, and again it was an emotional day for all Papua New Guineans as they honored the legacy of this great man. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Student Representative Council of the University of Papua New Guinea initiated a project to build the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare's monument at the Waigani campus in Port Moresby. Prime Minister James Marape, accompanied by the Moresby Northwest MP Lawyer Boy Samuel, officiated a groundbreaking ceremony yesterday afternoon.
According to the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Frank Griffin, UPNG is the only institution in the country that has a building named after the founding father, and announced that the library will be renamed to Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare Library. Former SRC President Melvin Tinol, who pursued this project, highlighted that the monument is placed at the central location where it will oversee the institution and be of inspiration to the generation of students attending UPNG, where they will be inspired by all the qualities that the founding father is embedded with. A funding of 45,000 kina has been raised by the SRC to fund the project, which is expected to be completed in September, where the Prime Minister is invited to unveil the monument at the country's independence. Prime Minister James Marape made a funding commitment to ensure the project is completed at the desired time and announced that the member for Northwest will work closely with the SRC to ensure this project comes into realization. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
As population increases in the cities and towns, lifestyle diseases are becoming common. This was revealed by pioneer cardiologist at the Port Moresby General Hospital, Professor Se Isi Keval, yesterday.
As the number of lifestyle diseases like stroke, heart attack,
high blood pressure and kidney failure are increasing, families are encouraged to eat healthy. The main cause of such lifestyle diseases are the substances that are found in the processed food that people consume in their everyday lives. Professor Kevau expressed that in the past years, it was only infectious diseases like tuberculosis, malaria and other diseases that spreads through infection.
To do medicine in 1967 until 1973, when I graduated. In that period of 5 to 6 years, we never saw anybody with lifestyle disease. But at no stage in my undergraduate years did I see a case of a heart attack. At no stage during the same time had I was shown a case of stroke. At no stage were we given a case of diabetes and kidney failure as a result.
He further explained how the blood vessels are being affected by the processed food that people consume.
Before we became independent, a change in lifestyle began to creep in. Change in the diet came in. Change in behavior came in. And that resulted in the development of blockages in arteries because of cholesterol, fat, and other stuff. So that's how the blood supply to the brain, that's how the blood supply to the heart, blood supply to the legs, blood supply to the kidneys. That's how they are affected.
Professor Kevau is now calling on the families to change some of their ways of doing things.
Impact in their lives. So one of the things that we have to talk about in the future is prevention is better than cure. Curative processes are very expensive, but can we prevent those? That's the biggest challenge, not just for us, but for the entire country, for the entire population. Families have to look at the diet. They've got to change their lifestyle.
According to him, in terms of infectious diseases, tuberculosis comes first, while HIV comes second, and in terms of lifestyle diseases, stroke is on the first range, followed by heart attack, and many other comes after. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, in a recent gathering, Chief Executive Officer for Port Moresby General Hospital, Dr. Paki Molumi, says a total of 17.6 million kina has been used to build up the facility. This is part of the 50 million kina commitment that Kumul Petroleum Holdings has made to help the hospital and the people of this country.
The Chief Executive Officer for Port Moresby General Hospital, Dr. Paki Molumi, says it would have cost the citizens a lot to go abroad to get such services, but with the help of the government and Kumul Petroleum Holdings, it will now help the people.
Not be alive today. We're talking about numbers here, but think about the number of people these people will support in their families, or they're contributing to the country in their workforce. So we've not only saved the country for these people to be alive, to contribute to the economy of the country. Most of these people are middle class who are working to contribute to the country.
The Memorandum of Understanding was signed in 2019, and the commitment made by KPH was for them to give 50 million kina.
Kumul Petroleum Holdings, we signed an MOU in 2019 for to 50 million, 10 million kina per year. And to date, we have used 17.6 million to set up this facility. So almost 100 million. That is a huge return on investment.
As highlighted by the head of cardiac unit, Dr. Boko, more people are waiting to be checked, apart from the 800 patients that have been checked.
Provide here, the cost of going overseas, it's very, very expensive actually. Before we had it up, only few Papua New Guineans who afford can go overseas. But after we had it up, almost 1/4 of patients were done for free, or they pay almost 1/4 of. And it's almost like a gift to the people of PNG, and thank you to the government of the day and the Port Moresby General Hospital and all the partners, stakeholders. Kumul has come in a big way.
According to Dr. Molumi, he says the next step they will take is to build a heart surgery theater in the near future. Samantha Solomon, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. A boat traveling from Wuvulu Island to Manus Island has overturned in the open sea, with 13 people on board. This happened in the early hours between 2 to 3 a.m. This was caused by strong prevailing winds, and according to the ocean forecast for Bismarck Sea, they saw seas rather rough and becoming rough along the southern sector with strong prevailing winds. The boat overturned, leaving 9 survivors that swam to BP Island, west coast of Manus Island, and they have been rescued by disaster officers. While speaking today to MTV News via telephone, Provincial Police Commander Kiweri Kesa confirmed that 4 people are yet to be found. That is 2 male and 1 female and her 4-year-old daughter. PPC Kesa furthermore said that the survived boat operator is currently held in custody for investigation. They will conduct interviews from the 9 survivors soon, as they are still traumatized by the incident. Search is still underway for the missing persons, and they believe that they will still find them. Meanwhile, traveling passengers by boat are urged not to travel due to the bad weather conditions. Thailand investors are arriving next month to strengthen trade partnership with Papua New Guinea. This was an announcement made by the Minister for International Trade and Investment recently. Thailand investors are to make their arrival by next month, as alluded to by Minister Maru. Prior to the announcement, Minister Maru and his Vice Minister, Cassie Sawang, have traveled to Thailand last month to meet potential investors.
It's my highest priority this year. I want my ministry to focus on building the relationship. I want our government to focus on establishing the embassy this year, building the relationship with Thailand, and let's focus on bringing investors from there. We are already getting proposals for 500 billion investment in agriculture. Can you imagine this? You don't get it every day. That's the level of investment Thailand is interested in investing in this country.
Coffee tree is now seen as a potential tree for carbon trade. This was unveiled by Mawe Gonapa, a PhD candidate at the Australian National University, during a seminar presentation at the National Research Institute. He said local coffee farmers and the country can benefit from this potential coffee carbon trade project.
Carbon trading is now a major topic being discussed in forums and meetings, highlighting the importance and opportunities the country can tap into with carbon trading. While these discussions go on between the government and interested stakeholders, Mr. Gonapa suggested that the forestry and agriculture sectors work together in carbon trading.
And people don't realize that coffee is a tree and it's part of the forest. In the same vein, or in the same token, cocoa is a tree and it's part of the forest. And they can also fit in the REDD+ mechanism to venture into carbon trade.
Gonapa said agricultural tree crops can be used for carbon stock. He said the coffee growers can use coffee tree to tap into the trade, as currently big coffee buyers are requesting for carbon neutral coffee.
Starbucks, Nestle are now demanding that they want carbon neutral products by 2030. And there's a mad rush all over the world. People are producing coffee to get there. But they don't know the mechanism how to get into a carbon neutral product. And so I'm also considering this fact, and I'm working closely with some of the exporters, that we must now take stock and do what they call carbon accounting. Accounting.
With these discussions going on, the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Climate Change will be submitting a regulatory framework to NEC before the end of March 2023 to regulate the carbon trade in the country. With government assistance, Mr. Gonapa said local coffee or cocoa farmers can benefit from their tree crops by forming cooperatives to trade carbon.
So fixing the guidance, we are now going to work closely with them to allow the agriculture sector, through the trees that we have, to now venture into the carbon trade, riding on a bag of REDD+ mechanism.
Carbon trade is the process of buying and selling of carbon stocks that allows the holder of a certain permit or license to emit up to a ton of CO2. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Mineral Resource Authority has a sustainability plan in place to cater for resource owners when the mining project reaches its final stages. The Executive Manager Development Coordinator Division for Mineral Resource Authority, Andrew Gunua, made mention to this during a seminar in the National Research Institute.
During a natural resource and economic seminar presentation at PNG NRI, a visiting professor to the University of Papua New Guinea, Professor Martin Davies, highlighted the 4 different phases of mining projects in the country. Professor Davies says during the 4 phases, it causes boom as well as a fall in the economy of the country.
So as we move between these different phases, and we can think of 4 phases in the resource project cycle. We have the investment phase. So this is where we're building a whole lot of new infrastructure, improving roads, bridges, maybe building airports, putting pipelines in, etc. We can think back to PNG, LNG for this. That's the source of a boom. That causes a boom in the country. All right, so we need to think about policies which mitigate the impact of that.
Professor Davies says the only time the country, including the resource owners, benefit more is during the revenue and investment stages of the mine. And after that, the economy suffers when the mining ends.
Coming in, we're producing the oil, gas, gold, copper, etc. Then we move into a final stage where the project starts to die. Its yields go down, the resource becomes exhausted. And that boom that's caused by the 3rd phase, where we've got lots of revenue coming in, ends. So this is another source of instability.
With this highlighted, the Executive Manager for Development Coordination Division for MRA, Andrew Gunia, said MRA has sustainability plans to cater for resource owners.
But then there has to be a replica economy. So we're creating another program, so we bring in agriculture in, or we bring in some sort of a tourism program in. So when the mine finishes, those programs kicks in, the economy is sustained.
Although the MRA has a plan in place, Professor Davies says it is still important to save throughout all the phases.
Which brings in foreign exchange. What you should do is save them in a sovereign wealth fund offshore. So that channel, you break that channel. You don't actually bring the revenues in, you save them, and then you have this ability to create also some intergenerational equity. So there's a sort of 2 benefits in that policy.
The Mineral Resource Authority is a government institute established to regulate, grow and sustainably manage the mining industry to maximize mineral export revenue for PNG. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Minister for Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Don Pollier, claims that the lack of technology in PNG, foreign scientists are copying researches and knowledge of Papua New Guinean scientists to manufacture different products using technology in their countries under their own names. Minister Pollier said to work closely with the PNG Science and Technology Council Secretariat to protect the intellectual property rights of Papua New Guinean scientists.
Minister Pole says intellectual property in law by copyright and trademarks enable people to earn recognition or financial benefit from what they invent or create. He said whatever knowledge that our scientists derived in PNG is taken out of PNG by foreign scientists to develop products in their own countries under their own names. He says to work closely to stop scientists from other countries coming into this country and using PNG people to take our resources away.
Something may come through along Papua New Guinea, maybe like some oil or maybe like some powder or what kind may come along Papua New Guinea, but because we've learned about technology, only carry him along overseas. He got technology stop long him. And then only working more little product out of this Lord probably belong Papua New Guinea, now only kiss him, only put him name belong only yet, or some only develop him, only come up him. This land by me work very smartly and strong when the Molsandis long stop him like and pass it. When you develop Papua New Guinea and ownership and belong Papua New Guinea. Suppose one guy scientist belong Papua New Guinea and develop him, me like him the scientist and must get name belong him belong this like patent rights and this like scientist and develop.
Minister Pole says in the past he has seen such actions because the government did not finance the scientific researches properly. Therefore, our scientists were helpless, but they were interested in developing knowledge. So they have shared the researches and knowledge with foreigners.
But only interested long continue long developing knowledge, so only sell him this product you go long overseas. And then time only got second law overseas, also Switzerland or some country also, or look him also only put him name long all. Long up, he go along this long produce, only been produce him out of Papua New Guinea property. This lab by me make him sure that you may get money, don't make him research like you may yet. We said scientists belong outside, they come and sell Papua New Guinea, but come through our chief scientists, the RST Secretariat, and through the desk department, and we'll coordinate, so we own, and at the same time we develop our own technology, like this one in this village, so we own our property rights or the IP rights.
Estagane, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The culture and tradition of any country are part of its heritage. Any nation marks its identity in the world by its cultural values, language and tradition, and the preservation for this is vital in this ever-developing world. In Port Moresby, the Indian High Commission hosted the event for the small Indian community where they celebrated a night with song and dance.
Preserving one's culture is very important as culture is identity. This is why the Indian community in Port Moresby marked all things Hindi in a small ceremony yesterday.
People who, like us, who have migrated out of India, we are forgetting Hindi. We are not using Hindi in our day-to-day language, and also we are not teaching it to our children. So this day, this International Hindi Day, reminds us that we should look into this field and we should not let this language go waste, because we have a lot of heritage, a lot of scriptures and Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas. They are written in Sanskrit and Hindi.
The celebrations included songs, poems, Sanskrit slokas from Bhagavad Gita and Dohe sung by children and elders with enthusiasm. Hindi is one of the world's oldest languages taken from Sanskrit, which is an ancient Indian language. And to ensure this language does not die, Hindi Day is celebrated. This was highlighted by the Indian ambassador, His Excellency Inbaseka Sundaramurthy.
But today was not one such occasion, because you know why? We are celebrating Hindi, India's official language, which is a language for almost half of the Indian population. India's population, please understand, is the world's largest population of 1,400 million. Almost half of the Indian population speaks Hindi.
The day is celebrated by Indian embassies and cultural centres around the world and is marked by events such as seminars, competitions and cultural programs to promote the Hindi language and the Indian culture. The day is also used to highlight the linguistic and cultural diversity of India and to encourage the study and use of Hindi in other countries.
And why we did this? Because between February to 15th to 17th, we celebrated in Suva, Fiji, the World Hindi Conferences. Why we did it in Fiji? Because almost 40% of the Fijian population is of Indian origin. I think people have known that. They came from India in the 18th century, in the 19th century, as laborers during the British Empire. But what they did, they worked hard, they became Fijians in what shall I say, in spirit, in Wantok, in their culture. Even though they just, remain Indians by race. So they became a class of Indo-Fijians. So that occasion, so that's why Fiji was chosen to celebrate the 12th World Hindi Conference.
Celebrations like Hindi Day and the passing of culture down to the next generation is cultural preservation, keeping alive the precious rich Indian heritage for years to come. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The Universal Church of Papua New Guinea saved more than 1,000 homeless and less fortunate people on the streets with food, clothing, and shared the word of God with them. This program was held today at the Universal Church in Port Moresby, Lae, and Arawa.
The church assisted more than 700 children and adults at the church at Gordon's and another 100 plus at their 8-mile church in Port Moresby and more than 200 in Lae and Arawa branches. Universal Church Pastor Jonathan Pine says, with the current situation in PNG, a lot of people are unemployed and are searching for jobs. Therefore, with this event, their aim is to give people food and also to teach them how to become self-sufficient.
Most people who came, they are people who were struggling in life, unemployed, in debt, people who are homeless, but they heard a word that motivated them as well and showed them that there is hope in life, that they don't need to be living in a life of struggle. They can better themselves, they can come out of the situation that they are in.
This event was supported by Paradise Foods, RH Supermarket, other business organization, and the church members. Pastor Pine has called on everyone who attended the event to attend Sunday service to hear the word of God and live a better life on earth.
They learned in today's event that through faith in Jesus, they can do all things. All things are possible, and certainly their situation will change. We also would like to thank the St. John's Ambulance, the nurses that are here, and they also been helping doing a free health check for the community around today.
Pastor Pine says the next Unisocial event is expected to take place in 2 months' time. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
About 200 youths under the Kagamuga Youth Empowerment Association in Mount Hagen volunteered in a drainage cleanathon from Kagamuga Airport to the Okuk Highway. This association aims to eradicate social violence, drug abuse, alcohol-related violence, and sorcery-related violence and others in the community and Mount Hagen City.
The Kagamuga Youth Empowerment Association was formed last year by local youths of Yamka-Pepka tribe in Mount Hagen. The president of Kagamuga Youth Empowerment Association, Xavier Nambuk, said the long-term goal of the association is to empower people in the community.
The goal and objective behind the initiative is to raise funds to build youths in our community, Yamka-Pepka community, in 2 areas. One is capacity building or education, and 2 is business or SME programs.
The volunteering drainage cleanathon was their 3rd volunteering activity and their next activity with plans of more of such activities to be carried out this year.
And 2 is business or SME programs. We want to raise funds to push them to pursue their dreams in education, support them, their business ideas to be successful in life.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
PNG Tumbuna music is dying on the is on the verge of dying out, with greater Western influence taking precedence through social media in this generation. Today, a group from the PNG Music Foundation organized a one-day PNG Contemporary Ethno and Folklore Music Festival at the Sir John Guy Stadium Visible to revive PNG cultural music and its importance.
Just opposite of Vision City Mega Mall bus stop, 2 Gardens, the entrance to the Sir John Guy Stadium was graced with the exhibition of the PNG Contemporary Ethno and Folklore Music Festival that took place today. The event witnessed 21 performances from 4 regions of the country, showcasing their cultural heritage and history through cultural music and dances. Under the visionary leadership of one of our country's most influential cultural music activists, Samson Salah, who is also the founder of PNG Music Foundation, the event unveiled successfully. Mr. Salah emphasized on the vitality of preserving cultural music, and with the Tumbuna Music Festival held today, he strongly affirmed that this is one way forward in reviving and conserving cultural heritage by way of musical entertainment and dancing.
The main aim of this event is to promote is to revive and showcase our unique traditional Tumbuna songs that we have throughout the country. We don't want it to be died out. Influence of outside world coming in, it's greater effect in our generations, upcoming generations, and it's very sad. It's slowly living. Those songs will never be without, and we see it's a sad thing in this area. So PNG Music Foundation, we are foundation. We want to. We always promote our culture.
Mr. Salah further added that the PNG Contemporary Ethno and Folklore Music Festival, or the PNG Tumbuna Music Festival, will be an ongoing event moving forward.
To do it as an annual event or quarterly event, we must always do this kind of event every quarterly, because annual, it's a long time. So we want the kids to grow with the culture. So we want to do it every quarterly, but we want government to come in, give us. We don't need millions. We just need little money that you just throw it out in this area. We need that money. You bring it us, and we will put this kind of event, and we promote our culture and our country.
The turnout observed today was commendable, and with the sole aim of promoting peace and preserving cultural music through this platform, the PNG Music Foundation is optimistic in staging bigger events in the future. Lisa Puni, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Today, spectators and fans of the SPPNG Hunters and the Central Queensland Capras, after a long while, made their way to the Santos National Football Stadium to watch their stars play live. The trial match is the first for the SPPNG Hunters, especially to play this match on home soil here in Port Moresby. Senior reporter Godwin Eki was out this morning at the Santos National Football Stadium to capture the build-up towards the Hunters' trial match against the Central Queensland Capras. Take a look.
It was only last week that the SPPNG Hunters played their trial match with various intercity rugby league teams such as the NCDC Port Moresby Vipers, the Croton Hela Wigmen and the Gulf ESO. Now this week Hunters have been busy in training in preparations for the match that is taking place today here at the Santos National Football Stadium. Now it is a trial match with the Central Queensland Capras against the SPPNG Hunters. Now as you can see right behind me is the main gate where the supporters or the fans are coming through. Now the gates were opened as early as 10 a.m. this morning. People will come in, still coming in, for the main game, which is kicking off at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Now, while waiting for the games to kick off this afternoon between the Central Queensland Capras taking on the SPPNG Hunters in their trial match away from Australia, I spoke earlier to some of the spectators or supporters about the match itself, and here's what they had to say.
Mikam sabotim Capras because from the Kasen Premier play, lo Capras Nixon put so Mikam watch the game lo sabotim.
Mikam watching game lo antas because all representing country lo now.
I'm watching this game all the way from Kikori. It's a privilege for us to see black men playing white men. Down there, we play no looking live here, but now we're going to see live. Now we play Hamama so some Hunters by putting first try.
Me had more some Hunters one time. Na play Australian team by Campilena. Mix him 600 na me come all the way from Kerma.
Now, we were fortunate enough to capture the SPPNG Hunters on their arrival here at the Santos National Football Stadium. Now, as you can see, all pumped up, they are coming out one by one from the bus on their way to the dressing room in preparations for this afternoon's match against one of the top teams in the Host Plus Cup, the Central Queensland Capras. This is the first away match where SPPNG Hunters will take on the Central Queensland Capras on home soil. Now, this tournament is also a lead-up to the 2023 season. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Northern Suburban Rugby League competition witnessed its grand final today, played at the Connie Tigers Oval. The grand final tournament witnessed two different divisions play their grand final games, the Under-20 and the A-grade division. Senior reporter Godwin Eki was there and he spoke with the competition manager, Felix Atusa. Take a look.
Now, after 12 rounds of competition for the Northern Suburban League and with 48 participating teams, it has come down to two final teams now, as you can see playing behind me for the 2023 Premiership title. And to tell us more about the competition itself and why the grand final has been brought here to Waigani Connie Tigers Field, joining me now is Felix Atusa, the competition manager. Mr. Atusa, just tell us about the competition that's going on right now. I believe this is the grand final for Northern Suburban League.
Yes, it's the grand final competition. It's currently happening here at the Connie Tigers Rugby League Oval. We've run the competition up at Bomana Police College Oval, but because of some reasons, we have to bring this game down here. We plan to bring the grand final to Connie Tigers Oval to avoid inconvenience, to control the crowd, so that they can play out, so that it's going to be safe, so that we can complete the grand final in a good note. So if we run the competition up at Bomana, we'll have chaos, and then they will take advantage of the home ground. So that's why we have to move the grand final to Connie Tigers Oval. Hopefully, after the presentation, we'll come back. We'll come back for the next season around October or September.
Yes, and there you have it. The Northern Suburban Rugby League competition will see its next season start around October towards November. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Meanwhile, the winners of the Northern Suburban League for the 2022 and 2023 season grand final, winners in the Under-20 men's division are Bomai Dragons, while in the A-grade division are the Erima Bulls. Both teams are the reigning premiers of the 2022 and 2023 season. The day ended with presentation of trophies and cash prize to the winning teams. And in athletics, PNG athletes that participated in the World Cross Country Championships all performed very well in the Bathurst, New South Wales last week.
The mixed relay team of Aquila Turalom, Scholastica Hemen, Delugoye and Merikua completed the race in 29 minutes, 42 seconds over 5 minutes ahead of Fiji, the only other Pacific Island nations to enter a team in this race. Hemen was outstanding on the second leg, gaining a place by passing the refugee team runner. The 5 PNG boys all ran very well, with Suane Gao leading them home in 36 minutes 18 seconds from James Ukuadua. He challenged the athletes to now focus on the Queensland Championship races in 1500 metres, 3000 metres and 3000 metres steeplechase, which will be held in Brisbane early in March. These events are a great opportunity for the athletes to run personal best times and perhaps set national records and show the benefits of the hard training that has been done over the past 3 months. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Now we take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with possible evening rain. Daru, cloudy with some rain tonight. Kerema, cloudy periods. Possible rain drizzles tonight. Alatau, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms. Popondetta, cloudy periods with some showers and possible evening thunderstorms. In Momasa region, Lay City, few showers tonight. Medang, possible evening showers with isolated thunderstorms. Wewak, cloudy periods with some evening showers. Vanimo, cloudy periods with some showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms. Kavieng, partly cloudy with few morning showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy with possible showers tonight. Kimbe, showers and thunderstorms. Buka, possible brief showers. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, patchy rain tonight, then morning fog. Gorka and Kundiawa, partly cloudy with possible patchy rain, then morning fog. Medang and Wabeg, partly cloudy. Mendi and Wabeg, partly cloudy with thundery showers and rain drizzles, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Friday, the 24th of February, 2023. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.